This call is.
But this is very cool. Multi-talented individual. I mean, he's done so much and continues to do so much, whether it's pro wrestling, whether it's acting, whether it's given his analysis, very political minded, knows a lot about politics, pop culture, everything. You look at this guy and he's like a big monster. I'm not going to mess with him. This guy is very smart and he knows what he's talking about. And it's Tyrus. He has Planet Tyrus, which is just, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Also, he's on the #1 late night talk show, Gutfeld, which is on Fox News. I watch that show a lot. It's so much fun. I love the diversity of guests, which is cool. But Tyrus, first, let's talk about this. Did you watch UM in Indiana last night?
Of course I did. Of course I did. It was a great game. Couldn't be happy. Listen, I respect the fact that you're still rocking your band and your colors. That's a game where there really was no losers in terms of, it was just a great championship game. You just got to tip your hat. I think Miami played over their head. I think they rose to the occasion. They gave Indiana a tough fight, but Indiana has kind of been the team all year. So, but it was a great game. Every hit was a collision. Every play. I mean, both teams, all those kids, they just sold out.
That was like watching a pro game. That was really a good game as far as the physicality goes. And I'm not going to go a whole thing on it, but I'll tell you what, Tyrus, the kicking game. It was the kicking game let us down. The missed field.
I'm going to tell you this. It's never one play. It's never one play.
Yeah, that's always a good point. You did play some football back in the day. What was it like for you playing football? And did you have, when you were young, you had aspirations of NFL?
Yeah, and I got a good look, and I had some great opportunities, and I got some paychecks playing professional football, so no arguments there. But yeah, you dream that, and you want to do that, and the way life works. But I think if you set high goals for yourself, and you're generally working towards that, there's a thing. It can be a branch. It doesn't necessarily have to be a road, because doors open along the way, paths create when you're walking on a trail in the forest and you're trying to get to, let's just say, grandma's house, and there's all these other paths along the way, but you're on the right path. You're doing the hard work. You're dedicated. You make the sacrifices. You put in the time. Other opportunities open up, and I think I'm a perfect example of that. Football went this way, and then that road kind of closed, and then boom. Luckily, I had my degree, so I went into teaching, and then trying to hustle. I ended up bodyguarding and bouncing clubs, and then that led to Snoop, which then led to the WWE, which the WWE led to branched out into TNA, NWA, movies, television. Then the Gutfeld show. The Gutfeld show led to Fox, and then I became a New York Times best-selling author. So it's one of those things where if your mind is if you're on the grind, if you're thinking about being the best you, so many other things will open up. And as long as you're openly willing to take self-criticism and not get caught up in your own, whenever you do have great moments, it's good to smell the roses, but don't plant a garden around yourself.
No, what's interesting too, and listening to you just talk about that and just how passionate you are about what you are involved in. You mentioned best-selling author, Times bestseller. That's amazing itself. But I'm wondering, Tyrus, do you come to a point where you're like, whoa, too much? I gotta just focus on this and this. Was there ever a point of that, or no? You were able to just mix everything together.
I had to learn how to say. I think you should always prioritize what you're going to do in life, but you have to have the ability to say no. And what I mean by that is because if you're focusing on the success of your career, you have to, and this is a lesson that I had to learn the hard way, and I'm still learning. You can't let other things suffer. Like when you have a relationship, I'm married to my wife, and we have children and stuff, but I'm working, and unfortunately, I don't get to go down to the textile every day, clock in, and come home for dinner every night. I'm gone on an average 4.5 days a week. So you can get so caught up in the limelight and the hustle of the job that you're not taking care of home. And what I mean by that is, like, when you do have time, you need to make sure that home is a priority. You don't want to get too deep into your career to where you burn the people that were there for you when things got started. And what I mean by that is if you're like, I'm on a hit show, Gutfeld, and while I'm at work, if they ask me to do other things, yeah, I can do it. But they're like, hey, do you mind staying on Saturday so we can feature you on 2 more shows? But I had made promises to go to horse jumping, baseball, and a date night with my wife. And I say, well, this is a great opportunity. This is really going to help our family. The first few times you do that, they will understand that. But then when they become, hey, I got another opportunity, you're going to end up getting to that point where you'll get to the top of the mountain, and when you turn around to look and say, "Hey, look what I did," there's not going to be anybody there. So you have to really know when to say, "Okay, yes," but when you got to still put the people that are important to you first and let them know that they are first. So you have to make, and sometimes it might cost you $1 or $2, but the long term effects of balancing your family, your friendships, your commitments, whatever it is, whatever your situation is, and still focusing on being your career, but you have to have a healthy balance.
And with that healthy balance, it's interesting because, like you said, 4.5 days a week, because you're a South Florida guy now. Your family's South Florida, and you're traveling to New York. So you're up in New York for 4.5 days, and then you're here for the rest of the week in South Florida. And just how, I know you explained it, but just what was the reason? Hey, let's make South Florida home.
Oh, that's easy. Well, first of all, my son lives in Orlando. When I was in the WWE, I loved living in Tampa. I love the weather. Actually, that's not. You know what? I love St. Pete. I like sneaking over to St. Pete. It was quiet.
Yeah.
I love the wharf. I'd go to a Rays game. I'd buy a nosebleed ticket. By the third inning, I'm sitting first baseline, heckling.
Yeah, because nobody went to the Rays game.
So there's
great.
Certain things about Florida that you just love. But the love of my life lived in Louisiana, so I moved to Louisiana, and we were there for a while, and then the stuff with the hurricanes, and then just it affects everybody. Even if you self-perceive that you're doing so well, your roof gets blown off by a hurricane, and the insurance company triples the insurance to the point where the mortgage for your house is half of the insurance, half of what your insurance is. You have to make tough decisions. So we reluctantly were going to move. We tried New Jersey for a little bit, and that's where my daughter really got into jumping. And we went to Wellington, Florida for her first equestrian jump off. She smoked the place, finished 3rd and 5th overall in her first year, and she'd only been doing it a year. She's like this. It's like tiger. She's like a moth to a flame when it came to it. And I'm sitting in this beautiful weather. And when my wife said, I could live here, that's all I needed to hear. I was like, I'm finally get the chance to be back where I wanted to be. And so it's great. I'm closer to my son. I'm closer. I'm with my daughter. My other daughters, they can come visit where everybody can be together. So it was really a great opportunity.
Wellington, as you said, that's one of the meccas for equestrian, for show jumping. I know that. I'm not big into it, Tyrus. I'm not going to lie, but I do know that part.
I'm telling you right now, as a black man, I never thought I would be an equestrian jumping dad. I'm just being honest with you. And now I don't know anything. I liked it so much that we wrote a children's book about it, which is actually killing it all over the country right now. So, and I went old school, man. I found a real artist.
Yes. Yeah. No AI. It's no AI.
No. Edward Marquez, man. He's a horse whisperer. He can draw anything. And I made it extra big. So, old school when you were a kid and you could sit down and moms would be reading this or pops or a school teacher and they could show it and you fall asleep. That was the point, because I'm trying to, let's get off the tabs and let's get reading again. So, but it's a lot of fun when you can include your family and stuff. And that's a luxury, but that comes from working your butt off and getting in a position to do that. But I absolutely love Florida.
Jumping, Tyrus. There's no cheering. Everybody has to be really quiet.
I cheer my behind off. I get yelled at all the time for it. When my daughter hits a jump in a corner, it's no different than Jason Tatum hitting a corner 3 for me to send him to overtime. It's the same thing. I'm a horse dad. I cheer for her as loud as I cheer for when my son hits a home run or my daughter wins a swim meet or my other daughter kills it in choir. Like, you should do that. There should be more cheering. But you can do the golf clap. But when she's finished, the deal I've made with her and her mother is I will not cheer until she's finished. And then once she cheers, then I can do all the Tony Robbins loud clapping I want.
I love it. I love that. I love the mention of Tony Robbins too. That's just so great.
Oh yeah, great man. Love that man.
Hey, talk about Planet Tyrus. Tell me what's going on with it. We got you on. We want to talk about that. We'll talk a little Gutfeld too, and we'll wrap it up. And thank you.
Yeah, the podcast is basically Fox allowing me to kind of let my hair down, if that makes any sense. I don't necessarily am looking forward to like talking to big A-listers. I think that's kind of been done to death. Just having regular conversations with interesting people who lead interesting lives from all walks of life. A lot of scientists, I'm trying to get teachers on, trade members, like starting to show Americans that there's are giving opportunities to the not extreme. Like, you don't have to be on one side or the other. You could just be a normal person. It's a very non-political podcast. We'll talk about some issues, most of the time good conversations, and I'm learning a lot. I look for things that I'm interested in. I have a lot of people coming on talking about animals and different things going on, historic moments, parts of the United States that history that we never learned about or heard about. There's so many great stories out there. And so I'm just having a good time, because you don't have to be, I think we've listened a little too much to celebrities. And you know what I'm saying? And they're known for playing other characters. You never really know where they stand anyways. I'm telling you, I've done it. I do it. But when it comes to getting to know people, and I think we should open the doors a little bit wider and get some interesting, because there's some tremendous stories out there. And my job is what I'm trying to do in my podcast, and it seems to be really doing well, is having people on who normally would not get a voice. And it's not, and it doesn't matter. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, independent, religious, not religious. I don't care what your background is. If you got something to talk about and it looks like something I want to talk about, I'm with it.
Even with that, Tyrus, though. But didn't you interview the president? Talk about A-list.
Yeah, well, no, I interviewed him, but it wasn't from a podcast. But yeah, no, that just happened on accident. Like, I was on the Gutfeld show, and that's the first time I met him. And when he said, "Hey, I'd love to sit down and have a conversation with you. I'd love to do a video," I was like, "Huh? What? Really?" Which is weird, because when Hitler wants to sit down with a black man and just shoot the stuff, it's kind of throws you off a little bit. So. But truly, I can tell you this, I still kind of going like, wow, President of the United States not only has taken interest in me and my family, he's very supportive, very nice guy, very and I was completely shocked. I didn't know what to think. I had never met the man, and you hear all the things that is said on media, and even though I work in the media, you think, oh, maybe 30% of it's true, half true. You just don't know. I'm a firm believer in don't judge until you've actually walked in their shoes or shook their hands, or made eye contact with them. And when I did that, after that interview, and after every time we have an interaction, I feel it's my duty to tell people what I saw, the way I saw it, and let them make their own conclusions. And a lot of people who I've met who are like, yeah, I've had the same experience. So I think it's tend to believe the people who actually have had real experience with the president, that are not being paid or is not in their best interest to be against him. And then we had that interview, and all I talked about was his good deeds, and it threw him off. He wasn't ready for that. It was very cool. Very cool. I'm telling you right now, no politician is going to let you do an interview without submitting questions. And when his team said to me, "Hey, where are your questions?" I said, "I don't have any." And the president was like, "Fine." So, you know what I mean? I'm telling you, that does not happen. I'm telling you, if I was to interview a dog catcher from the city, they would ask me to submit questions. And so it was really cool that he was willing to do that. And it was one of those things where when I'm gone, one of my great-grandchildren would say, my great-granddaddy sat with the president, and they'll be like, "No, you didn't." And they're like, "Yeah, it's right here." It's one of those things where we don't appreciate it now. The world doesn't appreciate things like that now because of all the anger and BS division. But when we look back and see how much of a mistake was being made, or the way we did things, it'll be nice to know there's a little piece of history that a guy who was basically born with absolutely zero chance to do anything but sell drugs and being out of jail, broke bread with the president, is pretty cool.
It's very cool. And I'm wondering too, just to follow up on that. So when are you, since you're you're a Palm Beach guy, so when are he and Hannity going golfing?
Hannity, I don't think I'd ever go golfing with, but the president, I go golfing with. Yeah. Hannity's never had me on a show, so I don't really know the guy, so it would be weird. But I'm so big when I get home.
But Tyrus, he's a Florida guy now too.
There's a lot of Florida guys. But when my behind gets home, it's about my family. If it works, and here's the thing, the president respects that. And I'm sure we'll do a dinner or something like that. But when I get home, I'm either getting ready to go to horse jumping event, or I'm hopping in the car for 2.5 hour drive to go see my son play baseball. So when my behind's in Florida, my hat's turned forward because it's dad time. This is my dad hat when I'm home. So
Boston Red Sox hat
Die
on.
hard.
That's what he's going.
My
with.
Bruins
Boston Red.
die hard.
I got a little. I don't know if it's too far to see.
No, I see the
Boston Red
Panthers.
Sox
I'm well aware. I'm well
representation
aware.
there.
Yes, you've ruined a few of my seasons. Yes.
No, but they got at least
Yeah.
representation.
I get it. I would do it. Hey, listen, if the Bruins would have swept, the Panthers when the Panthers had the best record in the world, I probably would be posting that too. Yeah, as you should.
No, but I got my Boston Red Sox helmet. It's too far away. That's
I see it. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just focused
Sox.
on the destroyer of my Bruins dreams. So that's why.
Yeah, the Boston helmet is this big. The Panthers jersey is this big.
And it's still jumping at us. I still have nightmares from.
Oh man,
it was a good series though.
It really was. I mean, those two teams get together too. It's amazing hockey. My gosh, that's just incredible and all. So, but anyway, all right. So just all the things you're doing, it's just so amazing. I love the children's book. I didn't know that. You're the New York Times bestselling author. Doing the way you come across on TV. It's just so natural. It's just you're not reading anything. You're just, especially on Gutfeld. That is just #1 late night talk show. That's amazing in itself. Who would have thought? Because you had all remember the old school David Letterman, Johnny Carson, Jay Leno, and we're going. And now it's a different dynamic. Maybe Jimmy Fallon isn't so political. The other ones are. But your show is just at the Gutfeld that you're on. What makes it work?
Well, the difference is you have to invest. I mean, we're on Fox News. Obviously, it's a right conservative leaning show. But my job is not to push politics. My thing is to hopefully drop a little knowledge and at the same time make you laugh and go to bed with a smile on your face. That's my role on the show. I think, and you have to make fun of both sides, and I do that. I think the problem is when you invest in one side. If you go all in on one side, and that goes the same thing. Like if you go all right, or there's a shelf life. And short term, you're going to get a lot of attention, and you're going to, and you're going to get a lot of praise from the other side, and you're going to be, and then eventually, they get bored because they're just watching the echo chamber. You're watching yourself speak, and then American people move on. They're no longer interested in hearing about how horrible one person, and they're seeing quite the contrary in the real world of what they're seeing on TV. And if you go all in, it's like the people who go so far in the supporting President Trump that they never have a question of a decision, or it is your responsibility to criticize your side more than the other side. You should watch your own yard, your own backyard. You shouldn't spend all your time trashing a side you don't agree with, because that's the easiest thing in the world to do, to have a problem with somebody that you don't agree with. The hard thing to do is to find common ground. The hard thing to do is to respect somebody else's position. And I think we've gotten away from that, because you no longer have to shake a man's hand or stare him face to face and tell him you think all these things that he says is bad. Everybody does it behind a computer screen or a clipboard. Everybody's a badass on TV, and everybody's a badass in front of a keyboard, but you run into each other outside of a coffee shop. It's a very different interaction. It's usually, hello, how are you? Have a good day. And everybody keeps moving. So, but if a camera shows up, bam, then you got an instant hero.
Well, Tyrus, I'm going to get this done quickly for you. 2 more questions, but this part will go a little bit fast. I'm wondering, now that you're a South Florida man, you're a South Florida resident, few places, maybe you've already been, I don't know, but I'm going to throw them out to you anyway. Lion Country Safari, you got to do that.
Yep,
also,
it's down the street from my house. It's already lined up.
Ballpark or the Palm Beaches, spring training baseball, not far from you. That'll be good. You can see your Red Sox. They'll come to town. I know that. And not too far from you, American Top Team in Coconut Creek, which isn't that far from where you are. It's based out here. All the top fighters are there. The facility is amazing. It's really a cool place. You go down there to get Dan Lambert, his people. They'll have you come in. If you like that, you can talk to some of them.
That'll be very cool. My boy, my buddy, my good friends with Chael. So I'll definitely have to check it out.
And lastly, I'll go with this. So we talked a little bit to open about Indiana. That was at Hard Rock Stadium. Tyrus, you were at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens. It was called something else, but you were there for a big event, something called WrestleMania.
Yes.
What was that like? And I know there was a lot of fun that night. If I remember correctly, and I was there, but I'm getting old, Tyrus. I forget things.
I strolled out there and I told someone, I told the world, call your mama. And the cool part was people just picked up their phone. I think the best part was the clip of the guy who picked up the phone to call his mom, and he didn't understand why he did it. I think that was when you know you're over. I'm like, everybody call your mom. A dude pulled his phone out, and he was like, "Mom?" But yeah, it was one of those moments where, you know, of course, you much would have rather have had a match, but I set the tone for, and again, that moment doesn't happen without John Cena having to go to the bathroom because we were over. So Cena could never be a bad guy in my eyes. And we went out there and we set the table for the main event, and it was a great thing. And of course, Naomi and Ariane did a great job, and Mama Clay and the Bridge Club, they represented. So it was a great. Again, that's one of those things when I'm said and done and I'm sitting in my little old folks home, pointed out the window, looking at the sun. If I still get to keep my brain and my memories, that'll be one of those moments where I'll smirk and be like, you did it. Because I was never put on this earth to be a dancer, but I did the damn thing.
But a big guy like you played golf. That's so cool. I remember that talking about playing golf back.
Yeah, I played with Mike Tyson. It was me and Mike Tyson played together. Yeah. And we've been cool ever since. It was a lot of fun that day. We both were good at driving. Our short game needed some work, but you know, there was lots of sunshine and beer out.
Wow, just amazing. And look, you've been so gracious, and I want to get you out of here, get you done. But you mentioned John Cena, and he retired from in-ring. A lot of talk about this. Listen, look, however you want to go out, that's your bit. Good for you. I thought he shouldn't have tapped. That's just my personal opinion.
Here's the deal.
Put Gunther over. That's fine. But I was just curious. What did you think about that?
It was a great finish, and how he wants is nobody's damn business. That's the biggest problem with wrestling today is fans. I didn't like this. I don't like it. It's not there for you to like. Enjoy it, hate it. As long as you tune in next week, he won. He went out. He went out his way. He went out. And you know what? Maybe it wasn't his decision. Because here's the deal: in every walk of life, in every sport, no matter what it is, very few of us get to walk out. Even those of us that you retire, sometimes it's put upon you. You know, sports, you're going to get fired one day. That's how you're going to get cut. That's how it works. Next man up, younger guy comes. What Cena was able to do is he had a farewell tour and went out the way, and he got smoked on his last match because he could have. If he would have broke the sleeper, then he didn't need to retire. The point is, he wasn't the guy he was anymore, and Gunther put him down. And he wasn't able to get out, and that's a great story, and that's a great way you pass the torch. More veterans should learn. There's nothing worse than a wrestler who's retiring and wins his last match. You're done. The whole point is to set the table for the next guy, and Cena has always understood that and always done that. So if you didn't like the finish, go boo Gunther next week when you tune in.
There you are, man. Thank you so much. Hey, NWA World Champion, he's done that. TNA Wrestling, he's done everything there. WWE, everything he's doing. Gutfeld, Planet Tyrus. Thank you so much, Tyrus.
Appreciate you, man. Have a wonderful week.